the glitches.
No, that's fine. You know, in these technology times, we just have to do with what we have at this point. So without, non-Nhlanhla says she can't hear. I'm not sure why. Maybe switch on your internet audio if on phone and computer audio if on computer. All right. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce our speaker for today, Otshepeng Sokela. Thank you very much for joining us. Otshepeng is the founder and managing director of Oats Risks Services, and she has vast experience in the financial services industry, spanning a whole 12 years. And in that period, she occupied different roles, both technical and business focused, in employee benefits, asset management, as well as insurance. And so she started her career at Alexander Forbes as an actuarial analyst and was soon promoted to senior actuarial analyst. She then moved to Stanlib, where she was a portfolio executive responsible for client management for Africa-wide clients. After her move to Cape Town, she joined Novair as an investment analyst in the fund of hedge funds team and was promoted to portfolio risk manager a year later. She's a lady who moves pretty fast, I can see. After 4 years at Novair, she moved back to Johannesburg. Welcome back, where she joined Credit Capital Partners as the head of insurance and was tasked with setting up and heading up ESM Financial and Risk Services, a joint venture between Credit and other business, which was an insurance brokerage which created and provided solutions for both the public and private sector. Throughout her career, she gained extensive experience in technical analysis, product development, risk management, business and operations management. So in June 2017, she started consulting for different businesses, providing operational management, risk management, as well as business development services, which led to the birth of Oats Risks Services. Welcome everyone, Otshepeng, and we are looking forward and excited to hearing what you have to share with us in terms of how are we going to be able to build a resilient business in these current times that we are facing. So I'm going to hand over the floor to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Triumphant. Thank you for having me. Thank you for all of those that have joined. Just checking, does everybody hear me? Am I clear?
Yes, thank you.
Yes, we can hear you.
I can hear you as well.
Okay, that's awesome. Thank you. I also just have to make an upfront. I'm a mother of 3 kids, so at any point one of them can walk in here and and disturb the meeting. I've asked them not to come in, but in case they do, please don't mind. I'll just ask them to go out. I've told them not to come in, but in previous meetings I've seen that sometimes they barge in. But these are the interesting times that we live in, so please accommodate me if that does happen.
No worries.
We have prepared a presentation.
It will be so special if they actually did pop in.
Yeah, my youngest will probably rock up any second, but yeah, let's hope we have enough time to go through everything. Because of the working off site, I've just prepared a small presentation that we can speak from with regards to risk management. So for me, my passion is risk management. And I think my passion is risk management for small business, because I think small businesses are very vulnerable, and the best way for us to be able to be resilient in this kind of economy and this kind of world is for us to have proper risk management infrastructure in place. I'm going to try and share my screen now. Okay. I just need to, okay. So this is us, Oats Risks Services. And I'm going to speak mostly to this slide because the other slides speak a lot about the business. But I looked for an Oxford definition of what resilience is. And the definition that we got was that it's the capacity to recover quickly from difficulties or difficult situations. The synonyms for these are those that made interested me a lot. They said flexibility, elasticity, strength, adaptability, and which was a word until I looked this up, bounce back ability. The antonyms for that, and this is where the risk management comes in: rigidity, fragility, and vulnerability. And this is when there's been huge failures in risk management, when you get to a point where you are not able to bounce back, you are not able to adapt, and you are not able to be elastic within your business. So I'm going to focus on rigidity, fragility, and vulnerability to see what it is that we can do in business to buffer or to prepare ourselves or for us not to be rigid and fragile and vulnerable. So to start off with, let's jump right in now into COVID-19. We can safely say some small businesses have already failed within the 30-something days that we've been in lockdown. Some will not survive the entire lockdown, and some, because of the ripple effect that's going to happen after the lockdown, will not be able to survive this period. And for me, I found three main reasons that we're going to discuss related to risk management, why some businesses have not been resilient and are not positioned to be resilient now and in times where they face difficulties. So the first part that I want to speak about is that some businesses, the reasons for failure is just they have an outdated business model. Their business model is not relevant to the times. Those are businesses that are rigid. Businesses that have been saying, this is the way we've been doing things, this had been working for us, and they want to ignore the fact that we no longer live in a place where only what you do matters. We live in a global civilization, and we'll speak about, companies such as Uber, normal meter taxis were suffering because Uber came along and they were set up in a way that they weren't able to adapt and adjust and innovate. The biggest example, the nice example that I like to give on this one is Kodak failure. Kodak was the biggest company when it came to film photography. They were doing very well, they were making a lot of money. An engineer within the business came up with the first digital camera. They pushed aside, they were like, no, don't tell anybody about that. We're doing it in the industry we're in. 10 years later, Kodak had failed as a business because they decided to be rigid. They invested more and more money into something that they knew from the internal people. They even did a research that showed them that digital photography would be able to pass film, but they were slow in changing, were rigid. And those are just that's probably the first one, by ignoring the fact that we now live in a global society, by ignoring the fact that a person can sneeze in China and the whole will come to a standstill. And that is the first risk that a lot of businesses fail. Most rigid businesses, luckily for us, are normally bigger. And so the one opportunity that I always say small businesses need to identify is that because we're small or because we're medium-sized, we still have a chance to adapt and to be malleable because we haven't put too money into certain infrastructure. And that's an opportunity when times like this happen, that it's easier for us to adapt than it is for the more rigid companies. So in your thought process and whatever you do in your business, please don't be rigid. The world is continuously moving and it's continuously innovative, and anything global can affect what you're doing in your town, wherever you are. So we need to adapt to change. That's the first risk that we need to look at. The second one for me it's a financial one, from poor decision making. And I feel like a lot of small businesses fall into this category. And these are businesses that I label as vulnerable. So the decisions that we make are ones that put us in a vulnerable position, and we are therefore not able to adapt or recover from certain difficulties. The example that I'll give, a lot of the businesses, we don't like to put out money up front to consult with the right people for us to put our businesses, or to put the foundation in our businesses for us to be able to weather the storms going forward. For example, accountants, having proper financial management financial management tools and proper financial management advice, knowing what's happening with your cash flow, because then you get businesses that when something like COVID-19 happens and stores are closed, they were literally 1 month away from paying their rent and paying their expenses, because the management of the finances and their flow has been poor, because they did not have the money to pay an accountant or take the time to put in financial management structures in place. The same goes for legal services. You have poor contracts, and because you did not prepare properly and have proper contracts in place, you open yourself up to being sued. And sometimes you can get sued for so much money that your business cannot afford to continue. You could have been in operational for 5 years. So in industries such as ours, I have to take out professional indemnity, because if I give one person wrong advice, and I know with yourself as well, Triumphant, you're in that space where if you give the wrong advice, it can come back to you in amounts of millions. And if you did not prepare properly for that, either to get the right legal advice or to put the right insurance measures, which it's not always, insurance is not always the answer, but sometimes it can be to avoid you working on your business for 5 years and then one person sues you for 10 million and wipes out absolutely everything that you've built. So this is where we find ourselves vulnerable. The other part, and when it comes to where South Africa is in small business right now, is compliance. A lot of people don't comply with paying UIF for employees, paying employees on the book, CIPC registrations, SARS, put financial reporting on time. And what we've seen now is that most of the packages that are coming out for small businesses require you to be compliant. And for those people that have not been compliant, unfortunately, they can't even ask the UIF to pay for their employees or to pay a certain amount for their employees. They can't, if they haven't been paying payee or they have proper documentation where they show payment of employees, they can't even apply to a bank for payment of employees. So sometimes it comes, and sometimes it can come to bite you. You're found to be non-compliant and your business closes down. So sometimes in the actions that we do, in our avoidance of paying small amounts or avoidance of taking time to just do proper risk management, go into your business, say, this is my business, I've seen these are the risks, these are what could happen in my business, and the things that are most likely to happen, make sure that you're prepared. So a lot of small businesses at this time are found vulnerable because they didn't put proper measures into place before this time. And then when one thing happens, everything falls apart. So you wipe out your livelihood. And for those of us who are in business, we know that you put your savings into starting this business. You put most of what you have into starting this business, and if it's wiped out by poor risk management, for some people there is no bounce back besides maybe going back into court. Okay. The last one that I wanted to speak about is fragility. Now, what I've realized is that there are a lot of companies that are reliant on one or two things. So it could be a source of income where you've got a tender and that's the main money that comes
How
in.
to cope
It could be
with
skill
lockdown
set
is
where you oh, okay. Is there somebody asking a question?
These grapes and Anthony.
Can I continue? Or was somebody asking a question?
Hi, I think they are talking in the background. So I'm just going to see if I can mute everyone and then allow you to talk, and then we'll have the questions at the end. Sorry about that.
Okay. Okay. So the last one where I wanted to talk about risk management and how that affects your resilience is that some companies open themselves up, they become fragile because they're reliant on either one person or they have one major source of income, or their services cannot operate outside a certain environment or a physical place. For example, if in your business, the brains or the key skills are yourself, or maybe somebody else that you've hired. Some businesses, some businesses don't have plan B, or you have that your business is reliant on a big tender that you've got, and if anything happens with that business contract, you no longer have a business. Or you find that your business maybe is based, you have servers, building, everything is in one place, and if a bomb drops overnight over that building, what is your disaster management plan and what is your business continuity plan? So this is what I see with a lot of my self-employed professional clients. You get doctors, lawyers, people in the financial services industry, and they are one-man shops. They're self-employed as opposed to operating a business. And most of them don't have business continuity plans in place. They don't have anybody that's going to take over or even buy out their businesses should they be no more. If there's two people that are relied on, things like key man risk that you need to take to give you a chance if somebody passes on or is incapacitated, for you to look for somebody to replace them. If you have a partner and a partner passes away, who takes over that part of the business? Can you buy it? Can you afford to buy it? Is their son who's gonna inherit those shares capable of coming into the business and continuing or even working with you? If you're reliant on a building, if a bomb comes and drops onto that building overnight, is your business able to operate? After that, can you operate remotely? And if not, how much time do you need or how much money do you need for those 3, 4, 5 years to rebuild or move to another place? And I find that this is also a space where small businesses suffer a lot. And especially with micro businesses or businesses in the townships, these are the stories that we hear that there's a certain family that used to have like a tavern that was run by the dad, or a service station, or a spaza shop, and they were doing fine until the person who was running that business died or was incapacitated. And we all know the stories of those families changed drastically. The kids could no longer go to the schools that they went to. Nobody else knew how to run the business, or it wasn't run properly and it was run into the ground. So we need to put measures into place to know what happens when you as the key person is no longer there, or that key business. I mean, Edcon is a good example where they were speaking about the SMMEs that supply them, that they are going to suffer. So if your biggest client was a con, what happens to you now? So a client that's properly prepared for such situations, being aware.
Hi. It looks like the connection has just failed us, and we have lost Otshepeng. I'm just going to get a hold of her quickly. And while we do that, perhaps you might have some questions. Please raise your questions into the chat room. Please type your questions that you have for her, so that when she gets back online, she would then be able to review them and see how she can answer those questions. Okay, it looks like Otshepeng is reconnecting now. And we've got about 10 minutes now with this current Zoom that allows us 40 minutes. So we need to see if we can maximize the last 10 minutes that we have. I think she's still reconnecting, but I see she has come up now. So if you have any questions, can you please type them into the chat? Okay, I see Sister Jenny has a question there. I took business interruption insurance, but the insurance company says COVID is not covered. All right, we're going to ask Otshepeng from her experience there if she is able to offer some sort of insight into that. If there are any more questions, please do type them there, and we will then get a hold of Otshepeng and just ask her if she could please assist in that regard. Hi, I've just had a chat with Otshepeng now on the phone. She is reconnecting at the moment. She's experiencing some internet interruptions. I'm just gonna check the chat if there's any more questions there. Pulu says, I'm enjoying the conversation. I think risk management should also be applied on a personal level and not just business. Like, what happens to you if you are to lose your job today and you're only relying on the one income stream from your employer? Yes, thank you, Trifina, for extending the meeting. Yes, correct, Fulu. We will ask Otshepeng also, for her comment there. And just to add on what she has been talking about in terms of the professional indemnity for my business, I actually took out about a 10 million cover, because in my industry where we offer professional services advice like quantity surveying to developers, that is a requirement for them to even start talking to us, because what happens if we give wrong advice and they then have to have some backup where they are able to claim from our professional indemnity. So just to say that Otshepeng, through her business, was able to provide me with a good quotation on that professional indemnity cover for the business, as well as the other business insurances that are quite important at this time. However, we do have to now look at that question that Sister Jenny has raised. What happens when you do have the business insurance covers and they say that they do not take into account situations such as COVID-19? And so we do have to discuss that when Otshepeng comes back online. Are there any other questions that you would like to raise at this point in time? Or any comments, any feedback on the presentation? And has it raised any sort of, you know, kind of bulbs, lights have come on in your mind, you know, things that you did not consider before and that you would like to start considering? I mean, let's open the floor for discussions and comments and feedback. And let's talk about what she defines as a resilience, because she talks about the ability to be able to continue even when there are some form of distractions that take place. What have we as different people put in place in order for us to be able to be flexible, in order for us to be able to adapt? She gave the example of Kodak, what happened to them with their pictures because they didn't go digital soon enough. And because of that, they actually went out of business. So perhaps I'll open the floor for discussions in terms of how are we making our businesses more adaptable and looking at business continuity plans. Is there anyone with a comment? All right. Okay. Fulu was saying, what are the different important covers, insurance that one should take into account when running a business besides UIF and COIDA? Okay, yes, that's a good question there. I see Otshepeng is back online now. I don't know if she can hear us. Otshepeng, can you hear us? These connection issues are a problem. You know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking we should, let me see, in order for us to have more time, in case Otshepeng is not able to reconnect, what we can do is we can drop the call and we can start again, just to allow her to be able to answer these questions. What I'm going to do, I'm going to just save the chat. If you would like to save the chat, you can click on those three dots on the side and then you will see something will pop up there, and then you can save the chat, and then you'll be able to show it to view it in your files where you have downloaded the chat. All right, so there we go. There's the chat I've just saved now. Meeting saved chat. And if we have to, we'll have to disconnect and reconnect again. Okay.
Okay, I can find.
Hi, Otshepeng, you're back.
I'm back. I can finally hear you. I couldn't hear you before.
Oh, okay, so
Hi,
we have some questions here. We've got about 5 minutes to go, and we just have a few questions. There was a comment there from Sister Jenny who was asking, I took business interruption insurance, but the insurance company says that COVID is not covered. So how does she go about that? That's the first question. And then the second question is from Fulufelo, and she's asking, she gave a comment saying she's enjoying the conversation. I think that risk management should also be applied on a personal level and not just businesses. Like, what happens to you if you are to lose your job today and you're only relying on the one income stream from your employer? That's the first question. Then there's another one that says, what are the different important covers or insurances that one should take into account when running a business besides UIF and COIDA? So those are the two main questions that we have. Okay, are you there?
I'm back. I'm back again. My internet connection seems to be.
Okay, yeah, please proceed if you heard the questions. Okay, you know what?
Okay, so I only heard two.
Yeah, those are the two questions, yes.
Okay, so with regards to business interruption cover, so there's certain cover that most insurers will let you know that as much as they cover you for it, under certain circumstances, it's not covered by them. And the example that I'll give is probably when fees must fall happened. As much as universities or university property was damaged, most of the insurance companies didn't pay, and the people who paid were SASRIA. SASRIA is
Hello? You know what I'm going to do? Because of this connectivity issue, I would like us to drop the call and then recall again so that she would have an opportunity to answer these questions. Is that okay? Can I see your reactions? Is that good? Are you happy with that? Can we do that so we can complete this session? Okay. Because I think it's very important for us to now close it nicely and have these questions addressed. All right, I'm going to end the meeting and start again, all right? But Otshepeng here is also suggesting that she can also send the answers via email. So in case we are not able to reconnect with everyone, I'll email through all the answers that we've just discussed. And thank you very much to everyone who has taken this opportunity to join us. And also, you know, I would like to thank Otshepeng in her absentia for, you know, joining us and giving us the time that she has today. Thank you, Otshepeng. I do agree, rather let us address the questions via email. And I believe that this has been a very informative session and quite insightful even for me. There were certain things I was thinking about of how can I diversify my services during this time? So not just relying on one client or one project or one type of service, looking at, you know, different services, different, you know, a broader perspective sphere of clients. So this has really been eye-opening for me in terms of the continuity of my business. And so thank you. Let's just open the floor for everyone to maybe clap hands and shout out any comment that you would like to shout, unmute yourselves and just have a great thank you, a shout to Otshepeng. Thank you, everyone. You can all unmute yourselves before we say goodbye, because the internet has not been great today. And so sometimes these things do happen, but I think we've got the gist of the message in terms of what is risk management and how we can protect our businesses. So thanks, everyone. I'm going to end the meeting now. All right, bye.
Thank you. Thanks all. Bye.